Welcome back to the Berg Podcast. With me today is Ford
Hey, how's it going?
and Dan.
Hey, everybody.
And Ford, have you missed the last couple? I'm trying to remember here. I feel like Dan, this is like when I said with me today is Ford, it felt like the first time I said that in a little while.
I've been MIA for a little bit, had a little vacation time, and then did some peer group thing that we talked about, and just the timing of it, I was MIA.
That's
so you
right.
guys just soldiered on and got it done.
Man, look at us.
Yeah, we were reasonable. I think we stayed on topic for the most part.
There's not really an agenda here.
That's one of the things I've actually come to like about this, Brian. We used to come in and we didn't have a plan per se, but we'd sit down a couple minutes before and say, okay, let's talk about this. But as you do it every week for a year or two, you know what I mean? Whatever. And we don't want to rehash, and we don't want to, and there's not always something like new and fresh, right? Like that's what's happened with society is we want like quick. You always need to have some news. And I find Ford has said this too, that some of our best podcasts, I think we may be talking about nothing. We're just talking about what's going on in our head or what, which is
the Seinfeld of podcast about nothing.
Yeah. We're going to talk about nothing.
This one's about nothing. Oh boy.
So Aiden, you can title this one Talking About Nothing.
Aiden gets a shout out. He's going to have to edit this one. And like 45 seconds in, there's already nothing we're talking about.
There's nothing we're talking about. It's perfect.
That's perfect.
But Ford was out a couple times, and Brian and I got through it. But now you're back.
Yeah, I enjoyed the one about you guys talking about act as an owner. I thought that was kind of interesting as a different spin on it. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I was listening to the front end of that one.
That's funny.
Yeah, we talked about acting like an owner, and Ford wasn't here, so we were both acting like owners.
We're both acting as owners.
Yeah.
We took ownership.
We took ownership of the podcast in
the
that
podcast
scenario.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
So we're getting into the into the fall season here.
What's up with that? Friday, I was in short sleeve shirts,
Mm-hmm.
literally last Friday. Saturday, it rains all day. And all of a sudden now, I'm almost afraid to have to put the defrost on my windshield in the morning. It's crazy how quick it changed.
Has this become, I wouldn't say an argument
The new
yet,
norm?
But no, the new norm. Oh gosh, no, we're not going back to 2020. No, I was going to say, has this become like a conversation in your home yet? Like, is the heat on? Have you turned the heat on? Or has anyone asked to turn the heat on? Is that?
So we have a problem. So we have this old system. It's called geothermal, but it's an old, it's been in for like 20 years.
Right.
And so it doesn't automatically go back and forth. So like 3 weeks ago, it got kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we flipped it over because you have to let it sit for a day before you can switch between the heat and the cool. And then last week it was 85 degrees. We had windows open trying to keep it cool because we couldn't switch it back again, to do the back and forth thing. And so it was we were walking around the house. I'm like, why is it 84 degrees in here? It's like, well, we can't turn the air conditioner back on. So we're going to have to just,
I gotcha.
I was like, man, quite a creature of comfort because in the old days, wouldn't even notice it. But now if it's anything between if it's over between 68 and 73, that's about the temperature
perfect.
Everything is at. Your office is at that, your car is at that, your house is at that. You don't even get to really notice what the true temperatures are.
Yeah, for sure. So is that, I didn't know that was a thing with geothermal. I didn't know.
An old system is. The new systems are much better.
They are, okay.
But this has been in for a long time, and so this is just the way it's currently set up.
Yeah, they call it a summer-winter setup or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't really think about it until those couple weeks when you wish you had it. Otherwise, all summer long, it doesn't make a difference to your all winter long.
The transition.
Yes,
weeks,
the transition's
right?
a little aggravating.
Yeah. See, for us, I talked to Brian about this because the girls have been complaining with how cold it got.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And
put an extra blanket on.
Oh, yeah, that's what I told them. They want the heat on. I was like, no, they're getting dressed under their blankets. So they bring their clothes underneath of the quilts in their bed to get dressed because they claim it's so cold. And then I look and it's 67. It is not that cold. If it was summer, they would enjoy that.
Right.
But just you lose track of it. Whereas I'm just, the cheapness in me for it. I'm not going to turn that heat on. The air went off a few weeks ago. We're not running anything. We're just
trying to see how low can that electric bill go. It might go back to last year or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we talked about this on here, but we got this high electric bill. And I'm like, goodness gracious, what did we leave on? What happened? We were away for a little bit, so it should have been low. And then I looked at the data, and our usage was down by 13%, but our bill was almost double what it was previous year. And I'm like, so it really doesn't matter if I leave the lights on at this point. It's just going to be an expensive bill. It's just going crazy.
Yeah, I was surprised with us when we redid the house. We pulled all the stucco off a while back and put siding on it. And it's the insulated siding. and the difference it made. Like the house is and new windows. The house is really efficient with that. The one that I noticed at Ford was we had gone over the summer when we went to Maine. The girls watered the garden before we left, which it has, it's like a little raised bed garden, and it has the buried hoses, and you just turn the hose on and it drenches that area. Yeah. They did not turn it off. And so I realized probably like 7 days in, but my mother-in-law was there, was with us, and there was nobody there. I could have called Ford, I guess, but I was like, we're going home tomorrow, and I'm not 100% sure they left it on. I'm not going to have Ford drive to my house to see if maybe a hose is on. And I got back and it was definitely on. And I tried to argue with the water company that they had to know that like they had to at least think it was a leak, and I got no grounds. That was a vicious water bill to run the hose for 7 days straight.
Yeah. Over the summer, we had to like replant a bunch of grass with basin work done, right? And it was so dry during that period of time. So I'm watering every day. And my water bill didn't change at all. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud, right?
Yeah. What Brian means to say is it changed appropriately.
It changed appropriately. It was definitely being monitored correctly, and the meter's working for sure. Yeah, I thought that was the strangest thing. I was like, oh man, we're going to get hammered, right? But I got to have this grass come in, because if I get a storm and it's as dry as it's been, and
Do they meter your water or your sewer?
That's a great question. I actually don't know.
Because if they only meter the sewer, the outflow, not the inflow, and they just assume what comes in goes out.
Yeah, mine's the opposite. Ford and I have talked about this because Brian and I, like for people who don't realize, Brian and I will say we'd like to be thrifty. We'll try and use like a nice term, right? Like we're going to try and figure out the most efficient way to do this. And so I said to Ford, what do you think if I had a well drilled at my house? Because like between water and the grass and the girls playing outside and all this stuff, like there's so much water that I get hit with, because mine is it monitors water in and then charges me for the sewer out. And I was like, most of this isn't actually sewer. It's the, if I want to water the grass or if I want to water the gardens, or the girls play on these like water things. And Ford was like, I'm pretty sure you signed something saying you can't install a well when you're already on public water. I was like, I don't know. That seems like kind of unfair. I'd like to put a well in.
Everybody would.
Is that a thing? You can't have both?
Yes.
Oh, is that something that like the water authority makes you? Great. Okay. Interesting. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I was aggravated
because there's always a fight when they like put new lines in, like they just did up there on 890s. Was it on 625 there when the road was shut down for like the whole summer? Yep. That's always a fight, because then they force you to hook up to it, and someone might have just fixed their system or put a new well in.
Money on a well, whatever. Yeah.
So then you got to pay the fees and the whole deal. So it's it can get a little sticky from time to time.
Yeah, growing up in Jersey, we had I lived in a small subdivision on the perimeter of the Pine Barrens, and very sandy, and I had 3 siblings, and so we had a sewer system that was very poorly installed. Just was like, because it's hard to mess up a sewer system in sand. Like this is a sand mound that is all sand, right? And but it was messed up and clogged for whatever reason. And so Ford and I have talked about this. So at some point I was, probably 13, 14. My dad's got, my parents have 3 boys and a girl. And my dad determined that he was tired of paying to have this thing pumped out. We were not going to get a new sewer system. So his solution was he piped the water coming out of the washer into an alternate sewer septic system, which I built.
Gray water system.
Gray water system. So I found this out when all of a sudden there was a piece of like corrugated HDPE that he drilled a bunch of holes in it. And it was long. It was like a 10-foot section. And he said, so we're just going to put this in the ground. And I'm looking at the pipe, and he said, so I brought you this shovel. And so I just dug what was in hindsight a wildly unsafe hole that was straight down. And he brought me the shovel, because first a regular shovel you can dig like 5-6 foot deep.
Sure.
But he had a special shovel for when you're like putting poles in the ground, because he worked on the line gang.
Right.
And it was like it looked like a giant teaspoon. It was like a spoon, and it had like a 10-foot stick. So you could dig and like make the dirt loose with one, and then you had the spoon and you would pull it back up, because the hole was like probably a 24-inch pipe. So like even he wouldn't put me in a 12-foot deep sand hole. I mean, maybe if he was really mad at me, he would have, but he didn't. And so that was my introduction to putting in a septic. And then like a year later, that's what made me think of it. The sewer came through, and he had to buy in, and he was like, I'm not paying for this. Like, I don't need it, because he had already built his own redneck septic. Mm-hmm. And, but eventually he had to tie in. He was really aggravated about it.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't, my parents have well water and a septic system, and we have public water sewer. So I never really realized you couldn't have both if you wanted to. That's interesting. And mine's just like through the borough. So I don't even know if I signed anything. I think they were just like, do you want to?
It's probably actually on your deed.
Yeah.
Because when they did the initial one, and that's the tough part, that like people that buy the place afterwards don't realize what, it's like, okay, here's a deed, and you're not going to read like to the 44th page and be like, oh yeah.
No, right. Yeah. I can't understand the thing anyways. They talk about like
old English.
The markers, right? Like, like 500 feet from this marker. And I'm like,
I could set up some time for you with Scott. Scott Manning, he'll come out and explain. All you need is time. He'll explain it to you.
Time.
You might also find that sinkhole that Colt was looking for, though.
Colt, yeah, that's right. I remember. Colt thought he told my wife my house might fall into the backyard.
That's when you wish somebody hadn't talked to your wife.
Yeah, it was. She already was like mad about the basin in the first place, but
that basin's been an ongoing conversation for what?
For a long time.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Longer than our podcast.
Yeah, very long time.
Probably since you got into this business and left banking, because at that point it wasn't.
And when we bought the place, I was just a dumb banker. I had no idea that my house was going to fall into the backyard.
It's currently still there.
It had survived. I have had no structural issues, no actual sinkholes.
That's awesome. If you get a sinkhole,
I
know just the company to fix it.
The guy.
We'll take care of it. It's no problem.
We'll grout it. We'll do some grouting.
We'll do some grouting. I'll take care of it.
Pump it full.
Just going to cost money.
Time and money.
You can do a lot of stuff if you have money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So what else do we got? We've talked about nothing.
All right, we're talking about transition months here a little bit, and so this is a topic. I hyperanalyze a lot I
can't believe that.
Yeah, I know, and this is a little bit. This one's out there for me, but I'm not like a particularly fashionable person, right? We could all acknowledge that. But I do try to look put together, right? I try and like.
You're more fashionable than me, but that's not accomplishing anything.
Right. Yeah, I'm certainly not setting any trends or following any trends. I do things that like make me, I think, seem reasonably presentable. All right, is that fair? Right. So, but I do question. I ask my wife these questions from time to time, and it's just probably gonna sound silly to a lot of people. But
if you're contemplating buying a sling, whatever, a crossbody,
the answer is don't do it.
Yeah, that's just a fanny pack, right?
Hey, fanny bags. There's a gentleman in the office who uses a fanny pack from time to time. Super functional, I'm sure. It's not flattering on my body type.
I'm going to refrain from any comments about the fanny packs being worn around.
No, this is about shoes, though. All right. So I have a problem with shoes, and I like shoes. First of all, I like a variety of shoes, which is a different topic altogether. But I could wear like boat shoes, no socks year round, and that's apparently not appropriate, right? Like so.
What's appropriate anymore?
Right.
What's your truth?
Thank you. Yeah,
what's your truth?
So there's like these unwritten rules, like like this whole Labor Day to Memorial Day to Labor Day, and I've done a little bit of travel recently, and the weather has been reasonable, so I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna. Can I throw my boat shoes in my bag and not have to worry about taking a second pair of shoes and like not be judged, right? So this is a conversation with my wife, and my wife is a little bit the opposite. She's actually always very well put together, and she's beautiful, so she really doesn't have to work at it, and she is fashionable, so she probably doesn't ask herself these questions. But when I ask her them, she's like, "What are you talking about? Just wear your boat shoes. No one cares." And I'm like, "Yeah, but isn't that a thing?" And she's like, "It's not. It's only a thing if you're around someone who cares, and if they really care that much, maybe you should be around other people, So like,
yeah, I think Ford has to speak on that. He's a good person to speak on this, because we both know that I am not. I mean, I want Erin to tell me if she could just set out outfits that match, so I don't make a mistake. I mean, I'll walk out and she'll be like, "What were you thinking?"
Yeah.
Like sort of like my line that sometimes I say to people was there a power outage at your house? Like, did you not see what you put on?
No, usually I always ask. I would love to know what got turned down for that.
Oh, what did you choose to not wear instead of the thing?
That's always the very interesting thing to me, because if you see something very unique or very out there, you're just like, I really wonder what got left on like.
You had options.
Okay. Choice A, choice B. What was the other choice?
You had options, and that's what you chose.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's been articles in the Wall Street Journal about this, the casualness of everything has gone just
Sure.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I have some suits, I have some dressy clothes, and like at this point, there's not many places, maybe church, maybe a couple fancy restaurants that a polo shirt is not like the highest level of class that needed anymore.
Right. Right.
Well, it's so funny too because
Weddings, funerals, and church.
because Ford and it would have been, he's right, like it got more casual as in the last 10 years.
The last 3 years.
The last three, but I mean, like,
but
10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, Ford and I were like, Ford introduced me to eating dinner at places that I would have never eaten at before. And he would show up and it looked like someone like ripped a page out of a GQ magazine. I was like, where did he even get these outfits? Like, I wouldn't even going back to, I think it was, I forget, it might have been my father-in-law's funeral. And that was right before COVID. And there was this whole big thing with a suit. I'm not going to get into it, but Ford lent me one of his suits.
Sure.
And he gave me a suit with a vest. And I was like, why would I wear a vest? Like, that's something like my mom made me wear when I was like 12. I'm going to have to wear a 3-piece suit. I'm not doing that. Sure. So I just wore like the jacket. And then Ford said something about you should wear the vest because it like makes it a nicer outfit. And I'm like, all right. I mean, Ford has dressed me at this point, right? I asked him what I should wear. He gave me the appropriate suit, told me what shirt to wear, told me what shoes. So I looked, that was as presentable as I've ever looked because Ford dressed me, right? But all of a sudden I got done the event and I was like, Ford, the vest made me look thinner. And he was like, yeah, that's why you wear the vest. The vest, like, and I was like, I never knew that. Like, I just, I had no idea. So Ford can be the answer for anything. Ford is my number one person I phone when I have I've called Ford from the store to be like, hey, I have to buy them. Aaron wanted me to buy some new outfit. Like, I have no idea what I should buy here.
I got to start FaceTiming Ford
when I'm shopping from the store. He'll help you right out of it.
Well, I mean, we can really geek out to the level of like if you're getting a suit or a shirt, the length of the lapels, the type of the lapels make a difference to the cut.
It makes your face look thinner, fatter.
Like
I do know some of this from wearing suits when I was in banking.
Yeah. And it's amazing how like the different types and the different styles. And then if you put like a ticket pocket in, like there's all these like crazy levels. I don't know the ticket pocket, but it's just to cut up the profile of it. All this, and if you do the single vent in the back or you do the dual vent, like there's some really crazy stuff. But I mean, like we were saying that like nowadays, like pullover, quarter zip, and a clean pair of jeans is like you can get you anywhere.
Right.
So I don't know if some of those rules,
some of the rules that used to,
I think have to be like kind of left go because now I will have to say I have a bias. I mean, I've plowed snow in boat shoes, so like I don't really. Boat shoes are like the shoe for me. But
I'm like boat shoes are kind of the go-to for me because they're like I think they can go either way. Yeah. Like they can be very casual or. You throw them on with a pair of like khakis that you actually can look like you can get into some events where you have to dress a little nicer.
I mean, I think it's more like things like pleats, like pleated khaki pants. That's something that really went away and probably didn't come back.
Hold on, I am certain I'm going to see pleated pants, but later tonight. And we're headed to a peer group meeting, right?
But. The South does things differently.
There is no chance that Heath does not have pleated pants. No, Heath isn't going to hear this. But
I don't think Heath doesn't wear pleated pants.
No, what does Heath wear?
I mean, they're khakis, but they'll have a crease in them, but they will not have the
pleated. But they will
not be pleated. You're right. Not full pleated.
Heath is too fashion forward for that. He knows pleated pants have aged.
Like I think I'm going to go in with my shoes untied just to like.
We should do that. We should all show up with
just shoes, disheveled,
disheveled looking shoes untied, our belt like halfway done.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there is a thing though about like dressing well makes you feel well. I mean, it's all this like mental stuff that you can get into, but like if you feel pulled together, like it does do things like you can't really like quantify, but it does help.
I mean, I'm a bigger guy and I'm a little self-conscious about it at times, right? I'm like, I'd rather be marginally overdressed than marginally underdressed. If I show up somewhere underdressed, I'm like immediately embarrassed, and even if no one cares, and I'm like, I don't know.
I've done that. I've traveled a couple times and I just like the same stuff goes in my bag when I travel. It's like, whatever. And I got there and I didn't have the appropriate stuff with me. And like, by the time I realized I couldn't go get something or whatever, and I was just like, well, here I go.
This is it. This is what I have. So
I'm here as a person, whatever. And everyone else is like dressed up and I'm like, I got my t-shirt and shorts on. Let's roll.
You know what this, it's a different vein, but I think there's some similarity to like that we're losing as a society, as a people, we're losing some of the formality, which on the one hand is nice that things aren't so formal, but on the other hand, we don't know it. Like it's going to get lost. Erin was talking about this with some of her friends, and she was saying that a lot of the meals that we actually like developed, that we would consider like staples, developed as people used leftovers, right? So like right now, and Brian and I will bring in leftovers a fair amount. And what we bring in is the exact thing that we ate before. Like we just bring in, it's a leftover, right? But Erin was saying where a lot of our meals came from. The examples she gave me were like chicken pot pie or shepherd's pie. She had a bunch of them. Stew. There was all these things.
All the one pot meals that they recreated.
That they would take the leftovers, but they made a new meal out of it, right? And Erin was saying that we've lost that ability. Like you don't even know how to do it. Erin said, like, I know how to make chicken pot pie and I know how to make a bunch of chicken meals. But if you just left me this, I wouldn't say, you know what? I can make this into something else. I would just eat leftovers. And I think there's some similarity there.
Except breakfast. I can pretty much make any leftovers into breakfast.
Well, that's true. That's true. I'll modify a little. I love when we're, if we're fortunate enough that we're having like good steak.
Sure.
And then the next day to make cheesesteak sandwiches out of a good steak. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's not complicated, but Erin says I'm good at certain things, which you wouldn't think are all a skill. Like I'm really good at like buttering bagels and toast. Now, I don't know how you can mess that up personally, but she claims people do. She claims like people.
It feels like a bless your heart compliment.
That's what I think.
I was just thinking, I was like, wait, it's like, can you not
butter like nobody else?
Yeah. No, I thought
really
the same
know how to
thing.
butter my bagel.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. And then I've been places and the girls, because the girls have no filter at all. They're like, if I don't have a filter, they have something else. Right. And they'll just flat out tell people that they did a terrible job buttering this toaster bagel. They'll be like, this is like, even at a restaurant there, they'll be like, this is terrible. Like I told Brian yesterday, Ford, I didn't tell you that Nora's sitting at dinner and we had dinner late because there's soccer is going on. And I have this beverage fridge. I didn't even have beverages as a kid, but now I have a beverage fridge, but it broke. And so I have to get it fixed. And it's more money than I want to spend to fix or buy a new one. So it's just an empty hole in my kitchen in this spot now. And Nora turns around and looks at it and says, "You going to fix that fridge? It's been broken. There's just a hole in the middle of our kitchen." She's 7 and she's heckling me about my beverage fridge.
You told me.
Yeah, what did she say?
She said something like, she's like, so now we just have a hole in our
Now that's what it was.
Yeah.
So now we just have a hole in our kitchen? And I was like, what?
Right.
And she was like, where's our beverage fridge? And I was like, it broke. She was like, so now there's just going to be a hole in the kitchen. She was so disgusted.
Put some little like cardboard doors on there. They could be a little hideout for them or
that's
something.
True.
Right?
Yeah. Ford, that's a good idea. I could take advantage of this.
Like I've heard the grandparents, they've really been talking about the water bottle thing, which it boggles my mind because I didn't grow up with water bottles, like, little,
right,
aluminum or whatever. And they're like, what is this, like this hydration thing that, maybe we know more now, maybe we don't, maybe it's a thing, whatever it is. Because I was actually talking to a lady the other day and she's like, what did we do before Google? And I said, we could have an argument or a discussion and we won the argument or discussion based on merit in your conversation, not on who was allowed to search for the appropriate answer. Right. She's like, yeah, at our house, we have rules. You can't Google if we're having a discussion. You cannot Google it until the conversation's over because it just kind of kills the conversation.
There has to be a winner and a loser, whether or not they're right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Being accurate never amounted to who was right. It was who could argue better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at politics. Yeah. You don't have to be accurate. You just have to be convincing.
Yeah. You just have to be you just have to make people believe you. There's a difference between being believable and making people believe you.
Right. Yeah.
So Ford, the other thing is it's because we drank out of hoses.
Right.
Well,
if you drink out of a hose, you don't need a water bottle. All I need is to be near a house that has a hose, and I'm not going to be thirsty.
Yeah, because we didn't use we didn't use plastic water bottles either. Like that wasn't a thing. We didn't buy like cases of water.
No.
And we just whatever came out of the tap or the hose or whatever the closest water source was.
We just figured out whatever, drilled a hole.
I grew up next to a landfill and we still thought the water was fine.
That explains
so much. That explains a lot, doesn't it? It was city water, but I'm telling you, they did not process this water. This was not good. That's what it is.
But I have turned into a water snob personally. Like
we've talked about this.
Like there are certain places where I want to, but just can't drink the tap water.
Yeah, the girls won't drink tap water. They've all filtered.
There are other places though that I've been where the tap water is phenomenal.
In Maine, well water is unbelievable. If you get like far enough away, And you know what else Ford, Brian and I have talked about is playing sports in high school, that what you drank water out of, right? Like
Yes.
for us, where I went to school,
Yeah.
it was literally this PVC stand with wheels,
Yeah.
and they had like the old metal well, right? That you just opened it up and it just shot water out of holes. They called it the horse. And it just had holes, and you were like, picture, I don't want to say like urinals, but that you're like standing right next to people,
Right.
and it's all coming out, and you're standing in about a foot of water because there's no drain there. So it's just water constantly pouring out for the 2 hours that you have practice. And then you go stand in muddy water while you drink water out of a
That's
glorified,
Yeah.
hose.
Either we're creating superhumans because we're doing all this stuff correct now, or it is what it is. Like
I think we're
you
making
adapt
us
to what
weaker.
you are.
I think we're making us weaker for it because that's, like, I feel like do you think that the girls, right? We'll start with Brian because your kids
Sure.
are older.
Right.
Do you think your kids are more like susceptible to colds and everything to you than you are? Like, do they get taken out a little bit more than you do?
I don't know. I feel like my kids are pretty resilient. It's interesting. Like it's very rare for them to be like, I can't go do something because I'm sick.
Yeah. Well, the girls are resilient. Mine are a little bit older than Ford, so I'll go second. Mine are resilient, but they are more susceptible. They will get sick. Now they're not going to stop, but they're impacted. Whereas I don't get sick now, and I think that is because of the water, Ford. I've really had this discussion. Like growing up the way I did, I think I built an amazing immune system from just being around people. Like we used to interact more. Like I probably would have. I thought nothing about drinking out of the same hose that somebody else drank out of, and I didn't like check to see if they put their mouth on the hose. Now I assume they would not have, but
Sure.
But
they could have.
They could have. I have another one off of this. Ford, do you feel like that with the girls? Like, do you feel like?
Well, I know I'm getting like we were talking about the temperature earlier. Like I didn't have air conditioning growing up. Like,
Right. Yeah.
If you were sweating in the middle of the night, you got up, got a cold shower, and went back to bed, and hope you fell asleep before you
started sweating again.
Exactly. Like
you
just got used to the norms of whatever was going on, and now, like we were saying, we have a 4-degree window, and it's like you go out in the field, and now like. It cracks me up, but it's a reality. We have to send out alerts like, hey, it's going to be hot today. Drink water because people aren't used to that. And then the other thing is people are drinking so many energy drinks and stuff that's besides water that you have to get water into because we didn't have all those options. It was like on a good day, you got that the yellow mix from Gatorade. If you were
the powder.
Yeah, that was like the best thing you had for something. And now there's like 84 different
like
options.
Country Time lemonade was popular in our house.
How about the little hugs that were in those plastic containers? Do you remember that? I'm dating myself here, but they were like real little, and they were like look like barrels.
I know what you mean, but I don't think that was a thing when I was a kid.
It was just like
not out here. I don't remember those.
What it is you took like what you would make into Jello, and you just put that in a container, and then you just drank it.
And you drank it. And it has like a little foil lid. Like
it does have a foil lid.
I know what you mean. I just don't remember drinking them as a kid. I know them now.
Yeah, see,
I see them now with adult beverages in them. Those little.
Oh yeah,
and I'm older than you guys, obviously. So then the other one that I remember is, do you remember Jolt and Double Jolt when that came out?
Jolt for sure. I don't know that I remember Double Jolt.
Oh yeah, they had Double Jolt. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
That was
I mean, no, it's just water. Like that was the thing.
Yeah, right.
My dad drank some sodas, and that was
I can't believe
Diet Cokes. My parents drank Diet Coke a lot. So
I mean, think about
Tom drinks unsweetened iced tea.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, exactly. But you think about that too, is it's just like the selection and the other part that's interesting about this whole thing is that people could have before choose to not follow norms, but there was a central set of norms that everybody at least knew. They didn't have to follow them, but they at least knew what they were.
Sure.
And now you're out in the wild, wild west. This is tipping. This is dress code. This is,
the tipping thing is
food.
I don't even know what to do with it. Because why we've talked about this, right? That you feel like it says, do you want to tip? And you have to say like, no, but like all you did was ring up the stuff that I'm buying.
Now you have to actively say, I'm not going to tip.
Right. Well, and then the new thing is, do you want to make a donation after that?
Right.
Like, do you want to round up?
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to round up? Like, would you like to pay a little extra to donate so that we get credit for a donation?
Yeah.
No.
And I didn't. So sometimes I would do that. Right. So
of course you would.
I know. But sometimes I would do the roundup. I'm like, I don't care. Sure, you can have the 18 cents. And but I was doing it I did it at the pharmacy, like a CVS or a Rite Aid. But it was something that I had paid for. Like, I didn't think about it. All right, so I went and paid for something on my HSA card, and it said, "Do you want to round up?" And so I had to swipe again for the 18 cents because I couldn't round up on the HSA card. I was like, well, this is crazy. I'm paying Now I'm just paying 18 cents.
Well, and I could see if it was cash, right? Like if I paid you cash and was like,
and
hey,
like, hey, keep
like
the
they used to put the
change,
change in the thing,
little-
like I would do that.
right.
But on a card, there's no like.
I think that's what it's trying to capture, though. Like the fact that you would have done it before, but don't do it now. Now they're not getting those donations. So have you considered that?
No, I'm not going to. This is a ridiculous.
The
thing
tipping, I totally agree. I never before thought I would have to actively not tip, like for things that I wouldn't normally tip for. And now, like since the new norm, we I feel like everybody is like, hey, you're gonna tip, right? I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to tip for someone bagging my groceries. So.
Well, it used to be a specific. It was supposed to be for above and beyond service. That was what I was raised and it meant.
Right.
And now it's not meaning that. And
it did sort of become so. It was always service driven, but it did sort of become expected in like the food industry, right? Like restaurants. So, like
when they're serving.
Yes. No, I know. Yeah. But I mean, like,
it's not the
like,
fast serve.
I mean, I'm saying even in like the last 10 years, like not right before COVID, it would be really difficult for me to be in a situation in a restaurant where I had sat down and ate a meal to just not tip at all.
Yeah. I've never done that.
I don't think I've ever done that. I
would
have.
One time did a penny.
Okay.
Oh, all right. They must have really messed with Ford.
Whoa. That sounds like something else we should talk about.
Yeah,
but I would always tip something, but I may adjust my tip based on the level of service. Like, was it awesome? Cool. Yeah, I might give you, a really nice tip. Was it okay? I'm still going to tip you, but probably I'm not going to go crazy here. So, but now it's like, automatic, right? If you don't tip.
Well, the places now, at the bottom, they used to put the thing, so do the math for you. And I've been seeing places that they start at 20 and go above that versus like it used to be like 15, 18, 20 or whatever. That said, here was your math on whatever your tip was, go from there.
Now, all right, this is a like, all right, we're going
to go back kitchen. I can feel it. Is that what you're going to ask?
No, not back kitchen, but although that is definitely a topic. Have you been, this I just started seeing maybe within the last 12 months, probably, where they automatically add a fee because of the cost of labor and are asking for gratuity in addition. Have you seen that? Like where it's like, hey, here's the price that you paid on the menu, but we're gonna charge you an extra, 12% because the cost of labor has gone up. Would you like the tip? And I'm like, wait.
Yes, and that's it gets you dirty, especially if it's not on like the menu or ahead of time. It's like.
Right, just increase your prices,
and then I know what I'm buying.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's costing you more to make this thing, charge me more for it, and then I get to decide.
Well, auctions have done that too now. Like in the old days, auctions were always when you bought something, the person that was selling it paid the commission.
Right.
And now they like hit it and like, oh, now you pay it plus the purchase. So then you're like trying to, when you're bidding, you're trying to figure out like, okay, I got to add an extra 10% to whatever what I'm buying is because I know that they're going to charge me this. Like, it's all mental games is what it boils down to.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's even, and Brian, I'll go here because I think it's similar. Brian and I talked about it. I don't think I talked about it with Ford. So we're going to this peer group and we set it up.
Right.
And so, in general, you would have meals in the room.
Yep.
And I said what the number of people was the whole time. And if it's a small group, I can understand a small fee, right? Because there's not a lot of people.
Sure.
And they said nothing about this fee. And we like to use the same hotel chain, right? And they said nothing about the fee until the last 2 weeks. In the last 2 weeks, they said, well, there's going to be a small party fee added for the food. I was like, okay, that's fine. Just let me know what that is, which was an ironic conversation because 3 different times they explained to me what a fee was and what this fee was. And I was like, right, I understand what a fee is. I'm asking you, how much is it?
Right.
They're like, oh. And then they gave me a fee that was double what the food cost. And I was like, okay, that's just not going to happen.
No,
like I'm not paying double what the food costs for you to serve me, for the right to buy the food that you've already established the price. If that's how expensive the food is, that's what you should have put. And so we went a different route. But it was one of those same things where it was like just, I said, we're having an event for X amount of people.
Right.
How much is the food per person for that food? And you sent me a sheet, and then your sheet was off by like 200%.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
It's the hidden fee game.
It is. I know. Everyone's trying to make a buck and have you walk away not feeling like you got taken advantage of, but it just feels worse.
I was gonna say, I'd rather just say, all right, you know what? The cheeseburger now costs $14 versus whatever.
Right,
like I know that I understand. I mean, I understand now that I used to go out to lunch and $10 would get you lunch.
Yes, right.
And the other day I went out and I got, what did I get? A drink and a cup of soup and a cup of mac and cheese. And it was like $13.
Sure. Right.
I'm just like, we broke that threshold. There's just mental thresholds in your brain of that's why they do things at $19.99 versus $20. But there's certain thresholds that you just kind of always have had as a norm. Like $10 will buy me lunch.
And it makes you feel old when you try and justify those thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I remember when, and it's like, but
the one that it will always be, I don't think it'll ever change. The thing I remember most is I remember paying 89 cents a gallon for gas in Jersey. I could fill up my motorcycle for I think it was $2.50 or something, $2. I could take two $1 bills, fill up my motorcycle and drive it 150 or whatever miles. It was, you know what I mean? In my head, that's, that's just mind blowing. For a different thing, and I'll one more thing. So we were at a tournament this weekend. The girls did really well, but we were out to dinner with the teams, and we were split up because both teams had dinner at the same time. So Erin went with one of the girls, I went with the other, and they ordered dinner. And Mara always ordered something really nice. Mara likes to eat, and I'll let her order a real dinner. We're away for her, and so she got seared scallops or something. Did not read what the sauce was on the rice or whatever she had, and didn't like that, but she ate it. Nora, they brought it out, and it was ice cold pasta, and I never send things back, right? And I'm not sending it back and having someone bring it back out because I know how this could go. I'm not doing this, but I never say anything for it. But in that point, I was like, okay, this is a pretty nice restaurant, and you messed up the simplest of the meals. Clearly, I know what happened here, which is Mara ordered something that was complicated that you had to make. And I think I ordered a fried chicken sandwich. We were in Virginia. It was a little bit south. I was like, this will be good. And it was good. And she had ice cold pasta, and she took one bite and she was like, this is really cold. And I was like, all right, well, we'll just split my sandwich because I had ordered appetizers. And I just said to the guy or the woman, the waitress, I said, listen, this is ice cold and it took a while. We're fine. She doesn't eat it. She's going to eat half my sandwich. We had appetizers, but if you could just take it off my bill. And I don't think I've ever said that in my entire life, take it off the bill. She was like, all right, I'll let you talk to my manager. And I was like, no, I don't need to talk to the manager.
Right.
I need you to take it off the bill and we'll be done. And I didn't want to make a scene. The guy came out and wanted to apologize. And I was like, no, it's fine.
Okay. I don't want to.
I get it.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, can I get anything for you? I was like, no, I'm not looking for anything.
I'm not going to leave a bad review.
I'm not going to leave a bad review.
Right?
And it was in my head, I was like, this is where society's become it didn't work out because of timing. I understand the mechanics behind how this happened. It's okay. We'll make it work. But both he was oversensitive to it because I could write a bad review, which I wouldn't do. But I was
That's
also
a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother.
Oh man, we gotta earmark some of these stories because we're quickly getting to a spot where we should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah.
But we got the Ford 1 penny tip.
Ford 1 penny tip.
The bad reviews.
All right, so maybe we can combine that into a future podcast.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
We got that one about where we like to eat. This is a whole other side.
We can go back to that because I did stop at Cane's on the way home. I drove out of the way to go to Cane's, which doesn't even make any sense because now Cane's is here. But I did
yes, anyway. Right. Well, all right. This was officially about nothing, but we hope it doesn't deter you from coming back to listen to another podcast. Thanks for joining us today, folks, and we'll catch you again soon.